What up, Panther Nation? It's your boy, Big Tasty, a.k.a. the freaking Puerto Rican, in the house, bringing it to you live from the low country of South Carolina, Charleston. Tonight's show is going to be very good. We are excited about the division opponent schedule we have this upcoming season. I've got the full crew here with me tonight. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give everybody a chance to say hello. Panther Drafter, a.k.a. Mel Mayock. Why don't you give a shout out to Panther Nation?
Hey, Panther Nation. How y'all doing? Hey, I'm normally the guy talking about the draft, but tonight they let me get in and talk about the everyday football. Looking forward to it. Let's have some fun.
Yeah, we let you into the show.
I appreciate it.
All right, next up we have Mr. First and Ken. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Ken.
What's up, Panther Nation? I'm Ken Dye, Twitter handle at Ken_Dye, and just chomping at the bit to get to the regular football season now that we've been through all of this draft stuff.
What is it, 72 days or something?
I don't know. It's
not soon enough, whatever it is. Next we have Mr. Patrick Gravity Special Newton. Say hello, Patrick.
What's up, Panther Nation? How y'all doing? Born and raised in Charlotte, Panthers fan all the way. Just can't wait for this season to get started. Let's do it.
That's what I'm talking about. And of course, we all know the professor, Anthony Dunn.
What's up? What's up, fellas? I'm actually really pumped to be here tonight. The professor has got a lot to say. We got a great show. We got some good things going on. But before we get started, we're going to be talking about NFC divisional matchups today with the Panthers, but looking at it in the context of the schedule. So what we want to do is break down each game, and we're going to get right into that. But before we jump into that, I need to say something about our boy Big Q, friend of the show for a long time, and our first friend, if you will. And Big Q, he had us on his podcast, the Black and Blue podcast. You can check that out at teamboyd.com, teamboydturbo.com, and it was fun. Joe, did you have a good time hanging with Big Q?
I really did. The show was very enjoyable. It was very comfortable. He made it a very enjoyable experience.
Yeah, well, Big Q's always. I'm so jealous, man. I'm jealous of the cat because all he does is people just love some Big Q. He gets fan mail. We fawn over him, and we love being on the show. So it's fun, and I'm jealous, I got to admit. So everybody check it out, Black and Blue Podcast, and you can hit that up on Spreaker too. So let's go ahead and jump right into it, fellas, and waste no time. What I want to do tonight is we're going to be talking about divisional matchups, and there are some deep divisions. And what we want to do is talk first. You guys like this graphic I'm throwing up here? Panther eating a buck on opening. Eating the buck on opening day. It's kind of fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice. Like to see that.
Okay, so look, week one, we're at Tampa Bay. I want to go in and just make some comments about each game, but what we want to do is look at this in the context of the season schedule. So we're not going to talk about every game. That's ridiculous. But what we are going to talk about is how that divisional matchup fits in, because these are the key. We play six times, and these are the most important and also the most meaningful to Panther fans. So week one, the most hyped team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in the offseason, in the division for sure, potentially in the entire NFL, this is going to be a big matchup, guys. Joe, freaking Puerto Rican, what do you think about? Are you nervous? Do you like this? How do you feel? What do you think is the important aspect of this game?
Well, I am nervous. I won't lie about that. I'm excited, but there is some nervous anticipation just because of how much talent this Bucs team has. The record last year does not indicate how talented this team is, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And Lovie Smith coming in with his track record of top-notch defenses really causes me concern. One thing I think about the Bucks is they're built very similar to the style of play we would like to do: ball control offense and an aggressive attacking style defense. The difference between us is we have a proven quarterback, where their quarterback still sort of. The rookie Glennon has to prove himself, and the journeyman that they brought in, I have a feeling it was a lot of luck last year with the Bears.
Yeah, I think we can be overawed by all the moves that have been going on with the Bucks, and that, like, oh yeah, we get Lovie Smith and this and that and that. But they needed offensive linemen, I think, and I'm not super familiar with what they did in the draft as much as I should, other than Mike Evans. And they got these quarterbacks that are questionable. You know what I mean? They're not. I think McCown is not going to lose a game necessarily, and neither might Glennon. But they're going to have trouble against a front seven that wants to eat them for breakfast, kind of like that Panther in the image. That will be coming after them. So I think in the off season we tend to just focus on what everybody's doing so much and forget that, like, we could just chew you up. But Ken, what do you think about this matchup? Did you feel opening day? Do you like going down to the Bucks? Do you think it's a test game? What do you see as important about this?
Well, the biggest thing is the uncertainty about what their team identity is going to be. You know, you've got the talent that they've got, and then you've got the such different coaching styles of Greg Schiano, the autocrat, and Lovie Smith, the proven winning coach, you know, who's been to the Super Bowl. And so you really come out week one without benefit of having some game tape from some other team like you would have if you were like week 4. And so that's gonna give them a little bit of an edge there. It's just because we don't know what we're going to be facing. The thing is, you know, they've got the muscle hamster, you know, that ground game, so
yes,
good.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
And then, you know, you can use him off. You can use play action, and you've got 6'5" receivers, and then they also got tight end in the draft that Mel Mayock can maybe talk about. I don't know, you know, just.
Yeah, I think the Mighty Mouse, or Mighty Muscle Hamster, or whatever you want to call the little guy, whatever little animal that he does, and I know he doesn't like being called that.
No, that's why I call him.
You know, I was so high on Martin in fantasy football 2 years ago when he just went crazy, and he was a rookie, I think, right? But I've heard Tampa Bay analysts and fans talk about questioning his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield very well. And I think that they had such a rough season last year that they're even questioning a guy that should be their possibly the most featured offensive player. And let's just hope that Lovey, for some reason, gets enamored by those big receivers, because if they get a run game to go with those big guys, they're going to be a tough group to stop. Mel, what do you think about that with the draft and coming in? Mel Mayock, our draft guru, what do you think? What that opening game? We got to go up these two big guys. Vincent Jackson can tutor Mike Evans, and Mike Evans has got to be better than Mike Williams, at least in 2 years. What do you see coming into this opening week, even from the kind of the draft guru side?
Well, from the draft side, something that was that caught my eye is this is the first time, at least in recent history, that the Bucks drafted 100% offensive players. Didn't draft.
Oh wow!
Did not draft defensive players. The whole draft. They did pick up a couple of big, as we call them, hog mollies, offensive linemen. They picked up Kadeem Edwards, one of the guys that we wrote up in our draft exercise earlier in the year, and another big guy out of Purdue, too. So they picked up some guys, but they got a big wide receiver, they got a big tight end, they got a running back. So they're trying to load up on offense for sure, and it's pretty interesting to think about. But when I think about this game, I think about 2 years ago. This was also our opening game, right? We went down. We were coming off of an exciting year, coming off of Cam's rookie year. There was a lot of excitement. We finished strong. Ryan Khalil was taking out ads in the newspaper that we were going to win the Super Bowl. The coach,
that's right.
The coach hung shirts in every guy's jersey or everybody's locker saying, "I got Ryan Khalil's back." They went down. They were pumped up. Anticipation was high. We were facing a coach, much like what Kim was saying, where we don't have any tape on them, don't know what to expect. We went out and we were flat, and they handed it to us. If I had to predict right now, I would bet this is going to be one of our 2 divisional losses this opening game.
Oh, wow, right in the opener. Okay, Patrick, how do you feel about that? Starting the season after 12-4, NFC champion, go on the road to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are a mess just last year, and lose. What is that? What do you feel about that, man?
I was kind of going the other way. I kind of like our chances. I mean, at the same time, I think there's too much hype around Tampa right now, and I still think that they still have their puzzles to put together, and they won't be able to do it. I will say I'm nervous because this is the first game, so we're taking on their best team. Nobody's going to be hurt because it's not the middle of the season. But I still like our chances.
And they're new.
I think that loss that you were talking about 2 years ago, I think that, in a sense, might have humbled us. And I think that we might go down there confident. I don't think we'll go down there, like, overconfident. But, I mean, I just like our chances. I think Tampa still has, they have the pieces. They just got to put them together. And they don't know how Kelvin Benjamin's going to come out. I mean, he's a big boy, and he could be the next Calvin Johnson, or he could be a no-namer. They don't know, so how do you play that? So I don't know. I think it's going to be a good matchup, but I still think that we're going to get the win for sure.
Wow. Okay, there's a deep look. That's why the name of the show is Deep Divisions.
That's right.
We're so divided. We hate them so much that we're divided internally, which is good because I hate when we all agree.
Things like boring.
Yeah, I gotta say though, I'm torn both ways, and I think what I worry about this is a couple of things. As Patrick said, that they still have to put their puzzle together. On offense, we have to put our puzzle together, and we'll see how that goes. And hopefully, the running back, the leadership, the veterans of the running back, along with Cam and the veteran receivers we brought in, will be cool enough to kind of take Cam and calm his nerves. What worries me about this matchup is that Cam always comes out a little jittery. I mean, he's so amped up and ready to just own it all day long that the first half seems, for the first drive or series or two, he needs to settle down. And I just hope that isn't something that the whole team feels like Mel was saying. But we cannot deny this, is that it don't matter how big those boys are, if Charles Johnson, if Greg Hardy, if Coney Ely, if Starr, Quan, if they just eat the McCown or Glennon for breakfast, it don't matter. So that's where it's like, if our defense plays like they did last year, we'll be okay. If we put it on the offense in the first game, I'm a little nervous to see how they click. What about, okay, so we're kind of split over this. We go on an 8-game stretch after this matchup, right, where we have to play teams like the Green Bay Packers, we have to play the Detroit Lions, we have to play the Chicago Bears. We have to play like the whole NFC North, but do we play the Vikings? Why didn't we get them?
We also play Seattle.
Yeah, and Seattle. Yeah, and Pittsburgh and
Baltimore.
Baltimore. They're like God, that's an 8-game run that makes me so nervous. Patrick, we then get a break. We get a break, Patrick, and we go from 1 all the way, and then our next divisional opponent after all those crazy teams, and we land on primetime Thursday night football in Charlotte. You're the guy in Charlotte. I hope you're going to be there. We're going to try to be there, but we got to play the Saints after that. So our break from a hard run is a primetime game at home against the team we loathe. What do you think about that matchup?
It sucks. I'll be honest. I'm gonna throw it out there. It sucks. Honestly, I mean, we're playing at home. That's a bonus. The way I look at it is yeah, we have a tough upcoming schedule before we hit New Orleans. Depending on how the Panthers play all those teams is the same way we're going to approach New Orleans. I mean, if we get murdered by all these teams, we're going to get crushed by New Orleans. But if
Yeah.
we play solid games, if we get on a roll like we did last year where we were winning 8 games in a row, where we're just like an unstoppable train, I think at home we can hold off New Orleans, but it's all going to depend just on how consistent they are and how quickly they get off to a good start. And, I mean, injuries is always going to be a factor.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. So here, let me ask you, let me just pose that one scenario to you about this that you're saying is that what if we don't win? Say we don't win 7 out of 8, but what if we win? What if we go 5-3 or something like that in that run, and then those 3 losses weren't demoralizing? Do you think that would be enough to kind of go in on prime time and get a second win, or do we need to come off a 4-game win streak going into that?
That's a solid question. Honestly, I'm thinking we're gonna have to pull off some sort of win before we hit New Orleans. Because when you look at it, New Orleans is playing Cleveland, Minnesota, Dallas, Tampa. They have a bye week. I mean, they could easily go 6-0 before they even get to us, and we will be struggling from the get-go, and we'll be hurting. And so, honestly, I think we need to we need to get a couple wins consistently. Right, that's pretty hard to say considering we have Seattle, Green Bay, and Cincinnati. But I mean, if we
Gosh, I know.
If we play good and we don't because I mean, there's some games where we lose by 40 points and you can just tell the next week it's like they feel like the season is over. So if we can make it competitive and just kind of keep our spirits up, especially with the young players. I mean, Cam Newton, you've seen how emotional he gets. So if we can, the veterans can hold together that locker room and keep everyone on the right track, win or lose, I still think we have a solid chance of beating them at home, for sure.
Right on, right on. All right, so I made this Week 9 graphic, the Saints at the Panthers. Mel, what I want you to do is get in there and tell us is this matchup is there something special about it, or is it I mean, should we be nervous? What's the deal with this matchup? I'm scared off of that run.
Well, first of all, man, your graphics are sick. Those are just awesome graphics. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
It is awesome. But hey, this game here, man, it's in a weird spot. It's the night before Halloween. It's 4 days after coming off of a brutal matchup against Seattle. Everybody's going to want to beat Seattle. They barely beat us in the home opener last year. We're going to want revenge. It's going to be a physical game. 4 days later, we're on prime time. From a draft perspective, here's another reason to hate New Orleans. They traded ahead of us to get Mach 7, Brandon Cooks, who Panther Nation said that we wanted at number 28. So,
don't mock the draft. The 3 fans wanted him badly.
That's right. He was our number 1 pick. They jumped ahead of us to get him. So it's going to be tough, but you know what? The Panthers lose the games that we're supposed to win, like home openers against Tampa Bay and coming off of byes. We also win the games we shouldn't. So this is a game I think we're going to take. Even though it's going to be tough, we're going to be beat up, I think we hang on. We beat New Orleans at home.
And I think that's going to be the difference. I think it's going to be because we are at home. And we saw what happened that Monday night game, how the crowd really got behind the Panthers against the Patriots this past season. And the crowd, it was almost like they willed the Panthers to a victory. And I believe it's going to be the same sort of situation. As long as we're not coming into this game 1-7 or 1-8, we should be in a position to where the crowd will put us over the top.
Ken, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about this matchup?
I think that I'd like to say that we've got a good shot at winning, but I just don't see us winning this game. coming off, you only got a 3-day rest going off that probably the most physical team that we're going to play all year in Seattle. So by Thursday, you've got a bunch of guys that are just really starting to move like they're still alive, let
Right.
alone play football.
Yeah, like that Seattle game ain't going to be like
We're playing Jackson.
Yeah, or a touch football or a flag football game. I mean, that's going to be a man's game right there.
Yeah, and then so we're going to have a lot of people in the training room, for Monday and Tuesday, whatever. And we're just going to have so many people beat up. It's not injuries or anything, because you never know who's going to get injured, who's not, what team's going to suffer injuries. Except for Dallas, they already lost Sean Lee, but injuries could happen any way you want to look at it. But all else being equal, I think that the Saints are going to have an advantage coming in because we'll have the short week and that physical game beforehand. I think we'll probably come out flat, and that'll give Drew Brees and company time enough to jump ahead of us. And
I don't like this, Ken. I don't like this.
I'm just being honest, man.
Ken, why are you being Debbie Downer?
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I'm being honest. I think that they'll have, they've got the firepower to jump out in front, and we don't have the firepower to catch up.
I mean, New Orleans is playing Green Bay, so the week before, so I don't know if that's going to be a walk in the park for them either.
That's true.
Well, they're not the physical team. They're not the physical team that the Seahawks are, though.
Sure. This is what I think, though, is I want to, or this is what I want. I don't think that necessarily things happen, but I do think that Carolina remembers Game 1 of last season where we outplayed Seattle for 3 quarters, and then the NC State boy, Mel Mayock, Wolfpack guy, right? The NC State boy, Russell Wilson, took over in the 4th quarter. And our offense only put up like 12 points or 9 points or something terrible. So 12. I think 12. We came out. So our defense played phenomenal that game until the end. I think they were just gassed by that point. But so I think they're going to remember that. This is what I want to happen. I want, because this will be the best GIF or short YouTube video ever. Cam Newton to break out into the open field and then mash Richard Sherman as he runs by and teach him and just say, "What's up?" Take that, Richard Sherman, because Cam Newton can tell you to be quiet more than Crabtree. So then that's gonna happen in Seattle, and then that mojo is gonna carry over until when the Saints come to town, and then somebody like Roman Harper is gonna get a little frisky against his old team and catch Cooks across the middle and kill him by accident.
I like how you think. Right on.
Kill him by accident. So then when we play them at the Saints on the turf, Brandon Cooks is neutralized or at least scared. And either way, if that happens, my life will be epically awesome. The Puppet Master right here. Joey, that's going to be a huge game. Thursday night. On prime time,
nationally televised.
Yeah, we're the spotlight. It's a divisional rivalry. Charlotte, we know Patrick is going to be going crazy that week.
Oh yeah.
When you think of that game, Joey, right now, gut feeling, do you envision us being at a moment where we are confident going in there to punch or ready to punch them in the face? Or do you see us backpedaling a little bit at that point of the season?
I think this is going to be one of those games where it's going to determine the rest of your season. This is going to be a game where we may be licking our wounds, so to speak, from a hard-fought battle against the Seahawks. And it's at this point to where we're going to have to decide, are we going to fold up or are we going to keep pounding?
Right.
And I believe that the Panthers, their mantra is keep pounding. So no matter what happened in the Seattle game, they know the significance of this game. This is a huge game, division game, against arguably the team we hate the most, the Saints. So the fans are gonna be behind them. I believe gonna have to step up. I'm not saying it's gonna be we're gonna blow them out. I don't believe that at all. But I believe it's gonna be a tough matchup. And speaking of which,
Okay.
I'd like to thank Luke down at the Fan Zone in Charleston, South Carolina, at the Tanger Outlets, for giving us some props tonight.
Yeah, look at that gear, dude. Oh my gosh, I've been watching it and been eyeing it, and I've been plotting my ride down there for 5 hours.
It's a D'Angelo Williams signed helmet, and then a miniature D'Angelo Williams signed helmet. And I downloaded the mobile app for the Fan Zone. You guys should do the same. They've got some really great stuff.
Well, gosh, you're just decked out and like got the bling on. I didn't get anything new, Joe. I went deep into the closet.
You just came out of the closet? Is that what you're trying to say?
Oh, no.
I went deep into the closet and got this old number 7 jersey.
Steve Berline.
Steve Berline, take that, fan favorite, throwing it back tonight. So
there you
go. Well, I think you're right, Joe. That game, and actually, I want to check out this Fan Zone place because that gear is rad. D'Angelo Williams signed helmet. I've always been a D'Angelo fan because I've seen him play when he was in college against ECU, and he was so sick in college, and I was just hoping that when he came to the NFL, he'd just blow up, or like transition, should I say? Well, I was worried he's going to be a little small, and then he turned into like a punch in the face and then slash tough running back. So I love that, and that helmet is sick. I hope get that app and go buy it tonight.
There you go.
Okay, well, so I think you're right, Joe. That middle of this mid-season, week 9, is that if we get stomped on national TV, it's kind of probably over after that point. But if we can be, hot, like Patrick is saying, is coming in a little hot, a little confident, beat our rivals, that might be like a slingshot of momentum to kind of ride that wave on. Then we get really the back end of the season, when you look at it, to me, is like less intimidating in some ways, or more, really, just truly. And I usually don't say that when we play division rivals, but the next matchup is week 11. Then we get the Falcons at home. And when you look at this matchup, guys, they are a team it's hard to kind of pin down the NFC South this year because they're coming off of so much. Everybody's coming off of weird pretenses. The Panthers are really good, and their roster is kind of mysterious. And then when you look at the Falcons, who have that killer offense, or what looks like it, they struggle in the run at times. They lose Tony Gonzalez. What are they going to be like on defense? It's a mixed bag in the pass rush. You got craziness in Tampa Bay. I'm kind of looking forward to week 11. The Falcons coming to our house. I think that might be a pause game. You know what I'm saying? What do you think about that, Mel?
Well, I'm having a tough time trying to figure out which team I hate the most in the NFC South.
Nice. He's stewing.
I think Atlanta's right up there, though,
I hate them pretty terrible. I hate them all.
I have them all tied for first.
Tied for first.
Tied for first, that's right. Sometimes you got to give the devil the due, though, from a draft perspective. I think Atlanta had a very top quality draft. They got Jake Matthews in the first round to shore up that offensive line to battle the Kraken, so help slow that down just a little bit. They got Rashid Hageman, big 6'6", 310 defensive lineman that had 8 pass deflections last year. It's going to help them out. They also got our boy Prince Shimbo, who mocked the draft exercise. We said we wanted. They went and got him later on in the draft. So pretty disappointing there. But this is a game I think we're going to win. We're coming off of a Monday night game the week before against the Eagles. And just being at home, I don't see the Falcons beating us, man. We're going to take it.
Put the old woodshed beating on them?
We are. You know, the best nickname I've heard in a long time is Meg Ryan at quarterback for the Falcons. We're going.
Oh,
like
man.
That's like remember when they call Jim Everett Chris.
Chris Everett, yeah.
And then they got mad and had a fight against the guy that was interviewing.
That's awesome. Meg Ryan and the Kraken totally makes him. You know, there's really some bad jokes that can go there. Is because the Kraken might just put a woodshed beating on Meg Ryan.
Oh, there's a perfect.
Oh man, you know what I'm saying? Like you could just the setup is there.
Might have to leave that alone.
Headline:
After the last few
Kraken
days.
domestic violence. Meg Ryan.
Hey, you are sick. I love it.
Hey, you know, I mean, well, that whole thing is a mess, and I think it's actually doing a good job. They're doing a good job making it go away, right, for temporarily. Nobody's talking about it anymore. Kim, what do you think about Falcons at home coming off of 12 games of just crazy toughness?
I like our chances too in that game. Like Mel said, that the Falcons. I think the Falcons had a really good draft too. They got the big tackle Jake Matthews. You know, I think Sam Baker was the guy that was protecting Meg Ryan, and so they've upgraded the tackle to protect against the blindside pass rush, and upgraded their running attack. Freeman from Florida State, I think, is who they got. And pretty much everybody else they got were defensive players. So we know that they've got the passing, the passing attack, and it looks like they've upgraded their running game and their defense. So it's kind of hard to really say, but I just don't see them being the physical style team that we are, and I think that we can really, beat them down in that third and fourth quarter and just kind of squeeze the life out of them. I don't think they can hang.
Cam Newton just churn them to death. Just.
Yeah, I was going to say the thing is the Atlanta Falcons are the one team that hasn't solved Cam Newton yet. He always seems to have really good games against them if he can hold on to the football. But
that was the early year, right? The one.
That one fumble in the Georgia Dome.
Speaking of, that's where Matt Ryan went and had a meltdown, right? Meg Ryan? Was it that game?
I think it was. Yeah.
I think it was.
Or he said get off the field.
And we don't have Haruki Nakamura, a 3-inch vertical jump defending against.
Oh, yeah, no. So Meg Ryan had his moments, in that game, and don't worry, we remember it. We remember it clearly, Meg Ryan, that you tried to talk junk to us in the most lucky kind of fortunate events ever for you.
And we may even have video of it.
What's that?
So we might even have video of it somewhere.
I think so, and I think there's something coming out. And actually, we might as well go ahead and put the teaser out. Is Mel Mayock has been working on something because he has been stewing in division and disdain for his NFC South rivals, and we're going to be putting out something. Mel Mayock's inspired. He's put this all together, and you get to vote and tell us your story of who you hate the most. And there's going to be a lot of stories. What I can almost say is, who do I hate most at what point in the season? I'm going to have to have subsets of hatred, because for me, I'm going to go ahead and let the cat out of the bag a little bit. I think it is Atlanta for me. I know everybody hates New Orleans, but I have been to too many Atlanta games. For some reason, my first games as a Panther fan were going to Atlanta games in Charlotte. They were coming here, and Mike Vick, once again, trouncing us with the Superman catch, with that big fat guy that was the tight end back in the day, Algernon.
Algernon.
Flowers for Algernon.
On scum. Yeah.
But I was at all those games, and then I really don't like the Falcons. But here we go. what's his name, Nakamura with his 3-inch vertical?
Yes.
Who do we got? Kevin Avery from Facebook. I gotta say this, a little shout to Kevin Avery from Facebook. This guy is the coolest dude I've ever seen. He's like the nicest dude and the best Panther fans. And when he puts a post up, there's like 900 comments to it. And I asked what a good name for Bene was, and he said Sticky Wiki. And old Sticky Wiki, if you look at my homage to Woody Page, has a 41 vertical inch jump.
Shit.
What kind of nastiness is that? Man, jump right out of the gym, Joe.
That's right.
You bump his head.
Yeah, bump his head. Okay, so this Falcons game, we can go ahead and pass on this because, I think we're all right with this. Meg Ryan. We'll be okay in that one. But, you have to wonder, is Julio Jones going to be a problem for us? But I think we might have some guys that know him well enough at this point in their career to kind of hold it off. I mean, Deku, Harper, they played against them before. Next, we go on the road, Week 14, Panthers at Saints. This is crazy, where I almost find playing the Saints a respite from all the stuff we played early in the season. But it's in their place. We always play. I wouldn't say we always play terrible. Sometimes we go in there and own them. Last year we didn't. Last year we went in there and got torched. Joe, what do you think about this matchup going to New Orleans?
Big matchup because it's week 14 of the year. Who knows what we're going to be at as far as the division overall record and that sort of thing. So this is going to be a huge matchup. We played poorly last season there. We had a real bad outing. After they had a bad outing the week before against Seattle, so they had something to prove. So I think we're going to have something to prove. We're going to have to show that game last year was a fluke, an anomaly, and show that we can really bring it no matter where we are, especially in the Superdome or Mercedes Dome or whatever it is now.
Mercedes, yeah, the Mercedes Super, yeah. It's actually, I haven't been in that thing, but I just went to New Orleans, and that thing is beautiful on the outside, right in the city. The city has character. I wish I could like the city, but even when I was there, I still was just like, oh, there's too much Saints mess around for me. Patrick, what do you think? Going on the road, we got to play on that turf. Brandon Cooks, is he alive or dead? We don't know. From that first matchup, they got some speed on the turf. What do you think about this game?
I don't like it. I mean, the Panther fan in me wants to go along with Joe and say that, we've got something to prove, and we're going to go down there and prove it. But, man, Breezy in his home, oh, my God, that's the worst matchup you could ask for. It's so hard to win against Drew Brees down there. And, I mean, at this point, I'm just going to say it's on the coaches and the play calling, because how many times have we gone down there and played against the Saints in that dome? And so I think at this point, just look at the film, see what happened last year, and don't let it happen again, please.
I can tell you. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, you're right. Is that this is one of the worst places for anyone to go into? They at home, they're always a great team. But you're right. In the film, I can tell you, when you go back and look at that film today, you know what you need to do to change that game? Score touchdowns rather than field goals.
Get in the red zone. That's
Pretty much.
Right.
What do we? Was it 3 field goals in a row or 2 in the first half? And we just let them hang out, and then all of a sudden they just picked us alive. Mayock, what do you think in the city, the cultural city, the cultural icon, Drew Brees, in his hometown, or not hometown, but in where he feels most comfortable? He actually, by the way, Drew Brees was one of the first people to come back and buy a home in the city of New Orleans after Katrina. It was kind of a big moment for everybody because you're just wondering if people are going to retreat to the suburbs and stuff. But he could be on the downside of his career. Mel, what do you think?
Yeah, don't give the man too much credit. He was also he was the head of the player committee on safety while the bounty hunter scandal was going on. So, so don't give the man too much credit. but I got to say, this game, man, it's a tough one. That time of the year, I think it really comes down to which team is more healthy, which team has less injuries. But you bring up a good point about needing to score more touchdowns. I think all we did is score field goals, and the momentum went away from us. That's why we went out and we got Jericho Cotchery, who was Mr. Red Zone last year, 10 touchdowns in the red zone. Got Kelvin Benjamin, 6'5", 240. Can't coach that, right? I mean, he's Mr. Red Zone. You got Ed Dixon.
If he don't catch a touchdown down there, we got to cut him. Like, you know what I mean? That's what we brought him to do.
That's right. But one last point, talking about the draft. Another key to this game is how the rookies progress coming up into this game. They're no longer rookies at this time of the year.
Right.
Their second-round draft pick, Stanley Jean-Baptiste out of Nebraska, 6'2", 220, and I hate to tell Sticky Wiki this, but he's got a 42-inch vertical leap. So
what?
If he
and he's 6'2"?
Yeah.
And he's 220 pounds.
He's playing the wrong sport, man.
No kidding. No kidding. So,
somebody give that guy a memo. You're playing the wrong dang sport. Is he the one that's like 24 though? Is he the one that's old? Who's the one that's old? One of those corners from out west, the Utah, was it McGill, or was that who you said? I know, Jean. One of them is like 25 or something like that.
Heath McGill.
Okay, all right.
That's not old.
It is in football years. Maybe if he was playing basketball.
Well, it's old for being a rookie.
That's right.
True.
Yeah, and but so is Kelvin Benjamin.
In the last 5 games of the year, I think we go 4-1. Unfortunately, I think this is the one we lose in that final stretch.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, it's so. I think you'd be almost full. It's kind of a fool bet to bet going into New Orleans and beating them in their house. You know what I mean? That's, if you do that, it's a big accomplishment. I mean, even and when you do it, the 49ers did it, and then they just call a fake penalty on you.
Right. That's right.
So they either try to hurt you, that doesn't work. Then they try to smoke you. That's not going to work because Brandon Cooks, I tell you, I love Brandon Cooks, but I do worry for his safety with that little body of his out there. And and then, you know, and if they don't get that, if they can't hurt you, smoke you, then they get the refs to call it. So that's what I think about you Saints. Ken, going into the Saints, what do you think about New Orleans? Have you ever been there?
Yeah, actually, I went to the Superdome when back in the day when Auburn had Bo Jackson, and they were playing the Sugar Bowl against Michigan. It was the same year that Miami beat Nebraska on the Fumblerooski, Dean Steinkuhler, Bernie Kosar. Remember them?
Wow. Well, that's like I was like 5, but. But I do remember this. I do remember Bo Jackson Bo Knows being awesome in Tecmo Bowl or whatever. And Bo Knows. I used to read his little books like when I was in 5th grade. Bo Knows.
Well, I was a freshman at Auburn during his senior year when he was a Heisman Trophy winner. So I got to see him play in person.
Yeah, rub it in.
Joe Riolano said he's the best football player ever, or he could have been.
He's the greatest athlete I've ever seen, period, bar none. But Mel kind of busted my thunder a little bit. Then again, he's the draft guy, and so I just wanted to point out that they've got Stanley Jean-Baptiste, the corner from Nebraska, and if you're thinking that we're just going to throw touchdowns up in the air to Benjamin, then you got another thing coming because Baptiste is probably going to be covering Benjamin, most likely.
Yeah. Do you think Mel? Do you think that they drafted him just for like Benjamin and Mike Evans and Vincent Jackson? Like, there's 3 big.
Yeah, and that's the new rage in corners, right? The Seattle corner, long, tall, fast, and you look at the trees in the NFC South: Benjamin, Evans, Jackson. You know, it's Greg Olsen, right? I mean, the list goes on and on. So. Yeah, I'm sure they had it in mind.
All right, well, let's get out of New Orleans. And
one other point I want to make real quick about New Orleans is people forget about Kenny Stills. He was a rookie last year.
Oh, that's right.
And he's got the speed to beat people deep. So they not only added Brandon Cooks for a slot receiver type, with speed. They've got Kenny Stills with speed. So they've got a lot of speed on the in the receiver position. So they've really improved themselves.
That's going to be tough for us because our corners, while maybe Sticky Wicky can jump out the gym, Harper and the safety, then you got they moved Godfrey maybe to corner, Melvin White. These guys are not speedy fellows. They're kind of mid-sized. They're mid to big type guys. Melvin White's pretty big. They're not small guys, but they're not fast out of the gate either.
Well, we play a lot of zone.
So that could be problematic for us on that turf with that fast of a game.
Yeah, well, we play zone more than anything, so we're not asking them to put them out on a Revis Island type thing. So at least we play to the strengths.
He'd give up a lot of deep plays, though.
And our pass rush was kind of suspect against them. And
it was in New Orleans. There.
Right, in New Orleans, it just wasn't it wasn't as good as it had been at other games.
You're right, because their offensive line wasn't supposed to be that good, and we were all like, why aren't we? Remember, didn't the Kraken go up against a rookie in that game?
Right.
One guy had been benched or something like that, and
Armstead, yeah.
Yeah. So. And then we were all like, what the heck? Why aren't we just eating them for breakfast on this is the one part of the game we're supposed to be doing well in, and we had trouble.
Well, I think Armstead was getting some help blocking Kraken on that.
Sure. He had to have been. Yeah.
Without having seen the film, I couldn't tell you, but that would make sense.
That might have been, was that the game Charles Johnson got hurt in, maybe?
No, he didn't play in that one because he had gotten hurt in the New England one, right?
That's what it is, and so that really was the tough part for us, is trying to account for not having. And he's our guy. Let's just go and admit it. Big money gets paid the big money, and I know people are trying to diminish him because people have been diminishing him and saying Hardy's the better player in this. He's a 10, 11 sack guy every time. He's great against the run. He is. I said this about the Kraken one time, is that the Kraken likes to feast and fast, and then Charles Johnson is just on a steady diet of quarterbacks.
Yeah. Well, at his stage in his career, he should be a steadier player. Fewer ups and downs.
He's a few years older too. Right.
It's because he probably was out partying that night before.
He might have been out. Right.
Throwing people around on guns on top of couches or something.
Right. He might have been.
That's not the thing that worries. I mean, well, actually, all that worries me is, but the fact that there was also like that girl was doing drugs, he said it on the phone. You know, when you heard that phone call, when you heard Hardy say that, he was like, "Crap, why did I say that?" You could hear it in his voice, like, "Why did I say she was on coke? Why?" Because my man ain't just chilling and watching her party and then get all crazy. Those dudes were partying that night. We all know it. But
that's a party.
Okay, moving on. Week 15, Panthers and Bucks. Still, though, it's important. Week 15, Panthers at Bucks. We get to come back. This is a long time. This is a 14-week stretch since we've seen them. We get a lot of film to study by this point, and then we all figure out that Lovie Smith is going to try to run the ball, and he's going to play a rather conservative game, I think. I don't know who his offensive coordinator that he pulled in was, but he's always had a kind of conservative matchup, for instance. Kind of regular, vanilla type offense. Do we figure it out? Do we have a shot in this, guys? Joe, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we do. I think we definitely do. It says Panthers at Bucks, but isn't Week 15? Isn't it at Carolina? Because Week 1.
No, we play them at Tampa Bay in
Week 1.
Yep.
Week
so
1.
This is an away. This is a away game.
This is a home game.
Yeah, because Week 1 was on the road.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I'm sorry. That's
No,
right.
which is fine. I'm just making sure I'm right and that I wasn't going crazy.
You're always right.
Everybody knows that he's right.
No, this is another big game. I mean, back-to-back big games that could potentially decide the division champion. So we got to bring our A game. We're coming off of whatever the case may be in New Orleans. We're coming home, and we bring it. I still believe at this point to really have sustained success. Look at this helmet back here. D'Angelo Williams has to be a factor. We have to have a run game. Him, Stewart, Tolbert, Gaffney, if need be. We've got to have a run game, ball control, and play great defense.
That is something that has been that hasn't been talked about at all, and I think it's because of the offensive line and the questions surrounding them. But Turner, I think that the offensive line is going to be okay. Isn't it easier to block for the run than it is for the pass? And so just put those big boys in and let them road grade forward and try to get a run game. And nobody's talked about that, but that's got to be part of the Panthers' identity. We cannot try to just think because we didn't run the ball last year very well that we can't. We have to. And you're right about that. There's got to be more focus on that from Panther fans. The coaching staff better be on top of it. And if not, then Lovey will beat them at the game that we need to be playing.
Right.
Because he plays that game.
Right.
Ken, we're going in there. Joey says this game is for the marbles, the whole thing, because we got another matchup with Atlanta in Atlanta to finish it out. We're talking division on the line at this point. What do you feel about having them here at home at this point in the season late?
Well, as opposed to the others, it'd be between them and Atlanta would be my two. I just wouldn't want to play the Saints, for all the marbles at the end of the season, being
right.
home or away. By the way, their offensive coordinator for the Bucs is Jeff Tedford, I think his name is. He was the
head coach at Cal.
Cal for like 12 seasons.
Yeah, that's right. He coached Deshaun Jackson, I think.
Mm-hmm. And Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and Marshawn Lynch.
Mm-hmm. So
he knows. When he sees talent, he can really put it to good use.
And come to think of it, I think who was it? His name escapes me. San Diego Chargers.
Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen.
Oh.
Yeah, and so, but he had that great rookie season. So it makes me wonder if this guy coming in from California is not going to help Mike Williams.
Mike Evans.
Mike Evans. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Mike Evans. Have a really big rookie year, and also since it's going to be so late in the year, he'll be into the system, and they should all be in top gear there. So, but being at home. I like our chances in this one.
Yeah, we're going to have to stop the run. We're going to have to stop old Mighty Mouse. What do you call him again?
Muscle hamster.
Muscle hamster. Poor fella.
What a name.
Poor fella. Mel, you think coming in, getting another crack at them, this is a team this is a team that we always play well against, I feel like, and they bring a tough game against us as well. So, but I feel, why is it that we don't classify them in the same hate class as other teams?
Because to have a great rivalry, you got to have parity, right? You got to have wins and losses, and we've owned them for a long time. The last time they were really relevant to us was when Warren Sapp was there, and it was a give or take, and we would win. I remember the game where Chris Jenkins blocked an extra point at the end of the game to send it overtime, and we won. But it's been a long time. They've always had great off seasons and mediocre regular seasons for the last probably 10 years. So that's the bottom line. But the key to their success this year is Josh McCown. If he plays as solid as he did in Chicago, they're going to be really good this year.
So you don't think your boy Glennon is going to win it? I mean, from your NC State fellow Mike Glennon, the guy that they took over Russell Wilson essentially, you don't think he's going to get it by that point, have the job next year?
Time will tell, but I don't think so. No,
Okay. I don't either, really. I mean, come on. You brought McCown in to play.
Right.
And teach. He's going to mentor Glennon, perhaps.
Yeah, Patrick, are you going to get any games this year, you think?
Oh, for sure. I'm definitely gonna go to the Pitt game because I got a lot of Pittsburgh fans that want to go. So
Yeah. Oh, that's a big one. That's a prime time game.
But I definitely want to probably go to that New Orleans game because that's gonna be an epic game for sure. So
Yeah. Well, of course, you picked the two best games on the schedule. Of course, they're going to be awesome. Just throw in Detroit in there, and then. Okay. So bringing it back to Tampa, and let's just finish them out. Is Patrick? You didn't mention going to this game. It's not on the top of your list.
No, definitely not Tampa. There's nobody there that I'd care about. I mean, I think this is gonna be I don't want to say an easy game. I mean, because everything is up for grabs at this point. At this point, you're playing with injuries, you're playing with fatigue, you're playing with the playoff picture. So, I mean, it's going to be a big toss-up, but I still think either way this situation plays out, I think we're going to take the win, especially at home. I just don't see, no matter how many weapons on offense you have, if you don't have the quarterback role on lock, and I don't think, like Josh McCown, he's a good quarterback. I mean, he finished off pretty good in Chicago last year. But I don't think, especially with this kind of schedule, with these kind of defenses, I don't think he'll last, or that he'll excel to the point where he'll come in to Charlotte really confident and play really well, especially against our defense. So
That's an excellent point. He's not going to get to play Minnesota twice.
Right. That's for sure.
And the Lions don't have a cornerback, period.
Well, they don't have a defense.
Yeah, they have no defense. So then they drafted Ebron, who is not going to be as good as Vernon Davis, everyone. I don't think he's going to be bad, but I don't think he's going to be as good as Vernon Davis.
I think he's a more complete player, actually. He's not as fast, but he's a better blocker.
Okay. Yeah, and he's kind of gotten some flack about that a little bit, but you're right, is that the Carolina Tar Heel fans have kind of come to bat for him. If you watch him closely, that he's supposed to block better. I don't really care because I don't like the Tar Heels or the Lions. Actually, here's this, is I hope that he doesn't do well because Joey, isn't that the game we're trying to go to?
That is the game we're going to. I've already got the tickets.
Nice, yes. Oh. So that's where CarolinaCatChronicles.com, and we might as well plug us there. We'll be at this game. Patrick will be at this game at least for a tailgate. He's going to be at the tailgate. We're going to go pick him up and bring him. Okay, so Tampa Bay at the end. We got just a few minutes left. Again, we play the Falcons, Week 17. Let me go ahead and put the last Panther eating bird picture up. Why do we always play these guys in the last week in their house? Is it just me, or is that true? If we did last year, why don't we ever get a home game with the division on the line in Week 16 or Week 17? Why we got to go at home and try to sack Meg Ryan 8 times? Mel, do we always play them? It's like we never play them at home.
Well, some of the worst injuries in Panther history have happened against Atlanta, even at home. I mean, Jordan Gross, Travell Wharton both went down against those Dirty Birds. So, I think they need the advantage to keep it close. Actually, I think we're going to take it to Atlanta throughout the year. They're going to be pretty good, but they're not going to be Panther good in my estimation. They're going to be a 9-7 type of team.
You feel that way, Ken?
Well, actually, I feel right now the Panthers are going to be a 9-7 team. Partly because of the schedule and partly because of our lack of tackles.
Wah, wah, wah. Downer.
Negative Nancy.
You want me to blow smoke up your ass all the time? I can do that.
Yes, we do.
You're right.
All right, we're going to go 16-0. We're going to go 19-0. We're going to win the Super Bowl. Be undefeated.
Now we're talking.
Put all of the 1972 Dolphins to rest. All those ghosts go away.
Now we're talking. That's
Thank
the
you.
I like.
Finally, he stopped being a rival fan in hiding. No, I'm just kidding. You're right. Is that I'm with you, Ken. Is that I don't look at this schedule and go, this is going to be a cakewalk at all. A 12-4 seems way too. I don't think that is even in the realm of possibilities. I think if you went crazy and had a wonderful year, I think you would. I think 10-6 would be the equivalent of what 12-4 was last year with this schedule. You know, the line's at 8 for the over. They've been for games won. Right at that is that. So Vegas, and you're in Vegas, Mel, right? We're not Vegas, but in
Vegas.
Oh, so you're in Vegas. Nice. So, heck yeah. Well, I will be sending you a check to put down on the Panthers to win the Super Bowl because every year I put a $5 bet on the Panthers to win the Super Bowl.
Hey, man, I'll see you in person in August. Give me a 20. I'll put it down for you.
There you go. It's just stop being wussy and just put a 20 down at least.
That's right.
I did. I got my in-laws went out there last year, or was it? Yeah, it was last year, and the odds were 40-1. And that $5 would have been like $200 or whatever, 180.
I put 10 on it.
Yeah, there we go. Well, then we'll buy tickets to the season next year or something. We better bet more than $20. Okay, at home, Patrick. We got to go into Atlanta. Do we beat Meg Ryan up? And are we in a positive place? Are we going into the playoffs at that point, you think, after this brutal schedule? Or do we really need to hang our hats on 9-7 and say that's a really good year with this type of matchup, with these matchups?
First, I want to give a shout out to my boy Prince Shimbo. I actually went to high school with him, so
yes.
Yeah, I actually ran track with him. So first off, I'll just give a shout out to him. Probably the only Falcon I appreciate.
Maybe you see sideline tickets.
Yeah, maybe.
Hey, Patrick, you're not the only Charlotte person and Panther fan that appreciates Prince Shimbo because he won. What round was it, Mel? In the round 5, we wanted him to come to Carolina. Mel has been on this train about the linebacker core, while it's our strength, is one injury away from not being. And we know Thomas Davis and injuries, knock on wood. I hope he is perfect and happy right now and safe.
Plastic bubble.
Yeah, plastic bubble with Jonathan Stewart in a matching plastic bubble. So Prince Shimbo, we wanted him here. CarolinaCatChronicles.com's fans wanted him here, and now you have to cheer for him at least to do well, but then to lose, right?
Yeah, I mean I don't think I'm gonna have to be cheering too hard for him to lose. I think they're gonna lose either way. I mean it all is gonna come down at this point at the last game of the season. It's gonna come down to the playoff picture, mathematically, who's in, who's out. You know, who do we have to rest? Who's tired? Who's beat up? I think both teams at this point are going to be pretty beat up. But honestly, I can see both teams fighting for a spot in the playoffs. So it's going to be a matter of who wants it more, who has more to lose, and I mean it's going to be difficult going to Atlanta, but I still think that we can do it. It's not like going to New Orleans.
Yeah, we did it last year.
Exactly, we did it last year, and I mean we've done it in style before. It hasn't been fighting tooth and nail. We've crushed them before, and it really just comes down to basically the playoff picture. And honestly, I can see either one of them making it into the playoffs, wild card. I mean, you got to think that all the other teams have to play. Everyone that we play twice, they play us twice. So I mean, we could split it. Every team one way, so it's going to be a very tough season for everyone in our division. But I still think Carolina's going to come out with on top against Atlanta for sure. I'm calling a sweep for Tampa and sweep for Atlanta.
Wow.
Wow. Okay, Joey, you're impressed by this. If that happens, how much gear are you walking out of the fan zone in Charleston with after that? Are you going to drive straight to the shop and buy whoever's signed helmet of whoever catches the touchdown in that sweep?
And that's right. I'm going to buy the helmet and mail it to the guy for him to sign if he doesn't have it. I really like this. I like this matchup as sort of the coup de grace for our season because Atlanta is a totally different team when they're at home. On that fast surface, they really are dangerous with their offensive weapons. Julio Jones, Roddy White. They really
no Tony Gonzalez though.
No Tony Gonzalez. That's right. But they're still
a running
guys.
game. Do they have a running game? Do they still have Steven Jackson?
They
You know
have
he's
Steven
old.
Jackson, but
It's not defined still.
Yeah, there's just a better team when they're at home because of the fast surface, I think. And
I think Patrick's right at this point, though. I think Julio Jones and then the aging White beside him, they could be at this point a little dinged up. No running game.
I mean,
I guess you got to worry about Harry Douglas, right? Harry Douglas.
They did draft Devontae Freeman out of Florida State.
Florida State, Devontae Freeman. 3rd or 4th round, I think.
Okay.
What position does he play?
He's a running back, right?
Oh, okay. So, all right. So they tried to address that need.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, they drafted Jake Matthews, the first pick at tackle. They drafted the running back, and I think everybody else was defense.
Okay. And that's what they needed. They needed a lot of defensive help. Did they get a pass rusher, though?
Yeah, they got
They got the guy from.
No?
Yeah, they got Rashawn Hickman in the 2nd round.
That's right.
Okay.
Didn't they pick up a free agent passer too?
Since he's playing for Atlanta, I'm going to assume he's going to suck anyway.
Okay. At the end of this, we play. I think this schedule
It's brutal.
Yeah, I really do. I think we're underestimating it. I think that the Patriots game last year and the San Francisco matchups had so much kind of swirling around them. They're kind of the sexy matchups. I think that NFC North is tougher than they looked on paper last year, and I think at least on offense, man. You know, I mean, you can't ever say that playing Green Bay is going to be easy because Aaron Rodgers is easily the top 3 quarterback in the league, in my opinion.
Especially in Green Bay.
I mean, interrupt. Just thing I just saw Malcolm Glazer died, the owner of the Bucks.
Yeah.
And Man U, Patrick.
Too bad.
Patrick, he also owns Man U.
Yeah, I actually went to their website and I saw that. So, but yeah, no, Man U fans aren't that big of a fan of him. So.
Oh, so it's not that big a loss then.
Gosh, guys.
Well, the point for our purposes, the point is it's going to cause a little unsteadiness in the organization.
Or it's going to make them get together and give them a driving force.
I mean, he was 85.
Well, it's going to take a little while for a new owner to set in and assert himself and learn some ropes and things like that. So there's a learning curve.
All right. Well, we went through every game. We know it's going to be tough. We're hoping for the best. We need, we're going to have to go 10-6 to get in the playoffs, I think, in this. We need to really look at the other guys' schedules and see how tough their schedules is, because their schedules are, because this schedule is going to be brutal. It's going to be tough.
Are they adding that 7th playoff spot or not?
They haven't determined yet.
Okay.
And it wouldn't. There's no way it would start this year, really.
They could. Yeah, they could implement it this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good idea.
I just don't want to get like the NHL.
This schedule.
6 and 10 teams making the playoffs. Come on. I don't want that.
Yeah, but there's a lot of 10-6 teams that don't.
I know, but still, you can dilute the product. That's what I'm saying. Like the
I think the NFL is looking at it. How much more money can they make with an extra playoff game? You know what I
but
mean?
the thing is, you start diluting the importance of the regular season, and people, the real casual fan will just start saying, "Oh, well, I'll just start paying attention to the playoffs because then that's when the good teams play, and the rest really doesn't matter because so many teams make the playoffs."
Well, we're going to need that spot.
The law of diminishing returns there for the regular season if you put too many people in the playoffs.
Well,
Right. I don't know. I like the idea of one more.
Yeah, one more I can deal with, but I don't think they should go past that unless they have league expansion.
Right, for sure.
all right. Well, I think we should get out of here, guys. We did a whole hour on the division. We know it's going to be tough. Let's go ahead and give our last comment. What's going on, Patrick? We got to say, C3 has got to give your mom a get well soon.
That's right.
Shout. We know she's standing up over there watching us.
Yeah, she's definitely standing, not sitting.
Gosh. Well, we are praying for her, and we hope she recovers well. Patrick, tell us what's going on with you, and if you want people to follow you, this is the time to plug it.
Yeah, you can follow me at Twitter at SirNewton17, and no, that is not for Jake Delhomme. Believe me, I was asked last time I was on this. It's not for Delhomme. Let's get that out the way. And then you can find me on Facebook, Patrick Newton. Just looking forward to the season. Still troubled about the other two teams that, in our division. Tampa's playing St. Louis and Washington. Now Atlanta plays the Giants in Arizona, and we get stuck with Seattle and Philly. But we'll figure it out, and I just can't wait. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, the anticipation is killing all of us. Mel Mayock, our draft guru. You've been going crazy on Twitter lately.
That's it, man. That's what I'm doing. But hey, you can follow me on Twitter at Panthers Drafter. Got a lot of conversation going on, mainly about the draft, but also more and more NFL talk, NBA talk. Hey, the Hornets are back. That's some good stuff too.
That's right.
Our prediction: we're going to go 4-2 in the division. But let's face it, it is May, right? Almost June. Last year, going into the season, the #1 team predicted to win the Super Bowl was Atlanta. City was predicted to suck, right?
There you go.
You don't know what's going on.
Well, then we're going to win the Super Bowl because everybody's writing us off.
Hey, I think we're going to make a run, baby. Let's do it.
Let's make that bet 40. Let's make that bet 40.
Now we're talking.
I'm living on the edge. Ken Dye, our lead writer for C3, CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Tell everybody goodbye, and also if you want them to follow you, this is the time.
Yep. I'm on Twitter at Ken_Dye. That's DYE. And as Tony said, I'm lead writer at CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Everybody come by, check out what we've got to say, whether it's me writing, Panthers Drafter, Mel Mayock there, or Tony, or Joey, or whoever. I'm sure you'll enjoy whoever's writing. So,
yeah, for sure. You got that. Ken brings the heavy analysis. Like when I read Ken's stuff, I'm like, gosh, man, I don't really know enough about football. Joey, can I see that helmet one more time, dude?
Certainly.
That thing here. Hold on. Let me switch the camera over. Yep. Oh yeah. That thing's. I want one so bad. Joey, say goodbye. Tell them where they can hit us up at.
All right, you can find me on Twitter at Joe Riolano, or you can find Cat Chronicles at cat_chronicles. You can look us up on Facebook, Cat Chronicles. I want to give a shout out again to Luke down at the Fan Zone in Charleston for the sweet stage props, if you will. Download that app, guys. It's got some good stuff on there. Check it out. And it's been fun. Panthers got a lot to prove, I think, this season coming up. And mandatory minicamp is the 17th through the 19th. Patrick, is that in Charlotte or is that in Spartanburg?
I'm not sure. I'll have to check. I think it might be Spartanburg though.
Okay, I was just curious. I didn't know if you knew. But great show tonight, guys. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, always is.
Carolina County Chronicles, guys. Check us out.